Why Indonesian women can't stand it if you, as a Western guy, are too pushy. This is the topic of today's video. But before I go into this, I want to read you a comment of a viewer from mine which I have received. She is an Indonesian woman, and it is very interesting what she posted the other day. Quote, "Hi, I'm originally from Indonesia and I have been in a few relationships with Western guys from different countries, including the United States. There was one person who really left an impression on me, but honestly, some of the others came on a bit too strong for what's considered normal in Indonesian culture. Dating across cultures takes a lot of effort, and in my experience, some Western men tend to push their opinions or expectations without really trying to understand where I'm coming from. They often want to meet quickly, go on dates, and treat me like a princess, but at the same time, they talk very openly about sex right from the start. I know that might sound normal for some people, but for Indonesian women, especially if we're not emotionally close yet, that kind of talk can feel uncomfortable or even disrespectful. I'm not saying all Western guys are like this, but this has been my experience with some of them. I just wish more of them would take the time to understand that we come from a different mindset when it comes to relationships and intimacy. Because for most Indonesian women, we value truly getting to know someone and building a long-term connection. I can confidently say we are very loyal to our partners, and we are more than happy to be a supportive system for someone we genuinely care about." End quote. And you might remember I released a similar video last week, the last time, where I scratched a very similar topic. And this is again a great comment by an Indonesian woman here, basically telling us, giving us advice, especially for newbies to Indonesia, for men who come the first time to Indonesia and start dating Indonesian women, giving us great and straightforward advice based on her experience. And that's great that these women share this, because it also helps us as a Western men to get feedback in order to correct our behavior, Or maybe some of us or some of you are completely in the dark about Indonesian, Asian, Southeast Asian dating culture, and you're wondering why you have no success, why you feel you mess things up, or maybe you have the impression these women don't like you, they can't stand you, they run away, they close up, or they close down, or they avoid you, these kind of things. So I will go step by step, pick a few points she made in this comment, and then just give you my take on it. Okay, the first thing she mentioned is this, that very important, not all, some of these Western men came on a bit too strong. And I can imagine what she means. And I think the reason is, it can be his personality, basically. He's just a very extroverted, outgoing guy, But it also could be that he's playing confident, playing this tough guy, this macho guy, putting up a fake front, putting on a fake front, trying to be super assertive, Because this is what we Western men kind of been taught through Hollywood and Western media over the past few decades, watching these Hollywood movies and stuff. In these movies, it is kind of conveyed that men have to behave a certain way. I'm not saying that women don't like confident men. They like confident men. They also like assertive men, men who know what they want. But I can imagine what the problematic here is, when these Western guys, or this Western guy is meeting an Indonesian woman for the first time, he is too overconfident, too extroverted, maybe too noisy, too loud, you know, too macho. And this is what I think she means with they're coming on a bit too strong in general, you know, and not only the way they come and behave, but also the things they talk about, which she also mentioned. So Indonesian women, in my experience, they are very sensitive, also shy, you know, passive. So you cannot just show up and be a Superman or Mr. Macho and behave accordingly. You cannot do it. You have to socially calibrate a little bit here. Also your behavior. Don't forget, you are not in Hollywood, you're not in California, you're not in Mission Beach, yeah, or Malibu. You are in maybe Yogyakarta, maybe you are in Jakarta, maybe you are in Surabaya, maybe you are in the Indonesian province, okay? In Indonesia, everything is a little bit toned down also. It's not so noisy, you know, everything is a little bit more decent also, you know? Then the other point she made is dating across cultures takes effort. And that's true, because that's very big. And some Western men don't seem to understand that. This is because of their ignorance. Yeah, believe it or not, but there are some Western men who have really no clue and no idea that perhaps things are different in other cultures, you know, not only the food and the climate, but also, yeah, the dating dynamics maybe, you know, how people treat each other, customs, you know. There are some men who are ignorant about it, unfortunately. Yeah? But there are cultural misunderstandings, of course. Even for me still today, I experience this. In my experience, so the only thing you or I or we can do is really to try to learn and wanting to understand about different cultures, mindsets, you know, and then also very important that both the man and the woman is taking an effort, yeah, to both understand each other's cultures and customs better. It's both ways. It's not only the Western guy coming to Indonesia to take an effort. Also the woman need to, of course, obviously, you know, adopt and adapt to the Western man if she's really interested to date him, because she also need or would want to understand his background. Where is he coming from? Why does she think this way and not the other way? You know. So that is what she's talking about. It takes effort, and the effort, you wanna take that effort and not just take things for granted or expect the girl to adopt to you. That would be completely ignorant, you know, and you don't want to travel to Indonesia with an entitlement mentality, right? So the other point she made is some Western guys try to push their opinions and expectations without trying to understand where this Indonesian woman, or for that matter, all the other Indonesian women are coming from. Yeah, that's a big problem. And again, I think these guys, some of these Western guys, they are just too insensitive, you know, because of their ignorance or maybe because of their personality. They play confident. They are also, unfortunately, therefore inconsiderate, you know, and selfish, and they come across as selfish. So these guys need to really think about it. If it is just their personality, the way they are, then they need to work on that. And if these guys just do it because they're used to do it, they don't know it any other way because they used to do things back in the Western countries like that, and they have to also work on themselves and understand the different dating culture in Indonesia and the different dating dynamics there. Yeah. So you need to work on yourself, basically. Yeah. And maybe also observe how other let's say, Indonesian couples behave, you know. When you are in Indonesia, you can start to observe, how do these Indonesian couples actually behave? How is the man behaving? How is he treating her? That's very interesting. You can pick up a lot of maybe customs, you know. You can also observe other Westerners dating, meeting, going out with Indonesian women, you know. You can learn a lot by observation. Then another very important point she made is, or complained, that these Western guys, some of them of course, quickly want to go on dates, treating her like a princess, and talk openly about sex. I made a video just recently talking about this. Treating her like a princess. There's nothing wrong with treating a girl like a princess if she is your girlfriend for a while already, if you know her quite well, if she's really something special to you, if you want to give her something, then my God, go ahead and treat her like a princess. There's nothing wrong with that. If she is really your princess, if you feel she is my princess, then treat her as your princess. She will love it. Because you're coming from a giving mindset, you know. But if you just picked up that girl, you met her maybe online, or even worse, you picked her up in a bar. God forbid she is a bar girl. And you just know this girl for a few days and you want to impress her, you know. Like I mentioned in my previous video, you will not impress anybody, you will just insult these women, you know. And I explained this in my previous video why that is. It's counterintuitive, you know. These women don't need to be treated like princesses if she is not your princess yet, okay? So stop impressing these women with your bank account, your fake Lamborghini, your credit cards. Don't put her on a pedestal, you know. Quickly going on dates, I mean, she is kind of complaining about this, that these guys want to go quickly on dates. In my honest opinion, there's nothing wrong with that, because let's say you meet a girl online. This is also my tactic, or has been my tactic, you know. I use these online dating sites only if I'm in Indonesia, if I'm there. I use these dating sites just to get in touch with women, get the chemistry going, get the connection going, and then I quickly, as soon as possible, of course, want to date this woman in person. There's no time to waste. There's no need for chatting back and forth for months and weeks or even years, you know. You want to make a connection, you establish the connection, and then you want to date her quickly, face to face, to see if she is suitable or not, you know. So there's nothing wrong with me personally. But of course, talk openly about sex, again, this is this typical Western behavior some men have. I don't know why they do that. Don't they know that they are in a different culture, predominantly even Muslim culture, with very still conservative customs and a conservative culture? I don't know. I don't understand these guys. They are so behaving like an elephant in a Chinaware shop, you know. Or maybe they're just used to do like that on their dates in California or Australia. I don't know. Going straight to the point and asking her about her sexual preferences even, you know. You don't do this with Indonesian women. And she complains about that, so that should make you think, you know. Be more reserved and show more tact, you know. Be more considerate and respectful. Because this is what she also says, straight from her mouth, talking openly about sex in these early stages of dating just makes these women feel so uncomfortable and they feel disrespected. So this is what's really going on, you know. And by the way, not only Indonesian women, also I believe Western women, also Western women are repelled by that, you know. If you want to repel any women or any woman, you start to talk about sex, sexual things right in the very early stages of your dating process, or you even start to talk vulgar, you know, vulgar talk, then you can be safe and sure that you're gonna repel her straight away. And especially you don't do this with Indonesian women. Yeah, but again, she says, and she makes it very clear also, that not all Western foreigners are like that, just some. But I also know these guys are out there. How do I know that? Because I was one of them, you know, many years ago. I behaved in a similar way, and some points she mentioned here, I remember very well also doing these mistakes, yeah. So she just wishes that more guys, more Western guys, take just their time to understand that, yeah, obviously Western guys and Indonesian girls come from a different mindset. They come from different cultures, right? It's actually a no-brainer, but thanks for doing this, making this comment anyway, right? So we Western guys, we need to get more conscious about this, you know, that we travel to a different culture and there are different rules, different regulations, different customs. I'm not getting tired to repeat this here. She also mentions that Indonesian women are very loyal. This is nothing new to me and shouldn't be something new to you, because I mentioned this so many times in my video. One of the top qualities of Indonesian women, she mentioned here again, they are very loyal women, and they are so happy to be a supportive system. And I like the expression here, I like the words she chose, yeah, supportive system. And this is real feminine energy here, you know. This is what real, true, authentic feminine women, also Indonesian women, because most of them are still feminine, this is what real feminine women want to do. They want to be a supportive system for their partner. They want to blend in and support him with his mission, with his goals, with his ambitions, you know. And that's a great trait to have, a great characteristic. And this is what makes many Western men now these days more and more attractive to these Southeast Asian girls. Indonesian women, Filipinos, other Southeast Asian girls, because these Southeast Asian girls, they still have these feminine traits, characteristics. They are really, really feminine women. So again, to conclude this video, these guys she's talking about here in this video, I think some of it has to do just with their personality. They are maybe just like they are, but they have to work on this. What is good in the Western country, what works in your Western country does not necessarily work very well in Indonesia or in other Southeast Asian countries. I think this is now what we have learned already here and could establish, right? Yeah, and if it is not your personality, then maybe it's your Western background. This is how you got things done in your Western country, in your home country when you dated girls. But you see, in other countries and also in Indonesia, things work differently. So you need to adopt, you need to learn, you need to do some research, you need to do some due diligence. You know, that's why I'm doing these videos. Learn something about the dating culture in other countries and also in Indonesia. But maybe these guys also behave because they are just immature, you know, then that's a pity, you know. I know some guys are like that, they're just immature, you know. Can't help it. And they're also impolite, you know, rude even. Immature, yeah. That's a pity. So we are talking also about the Western dating paradigm versus the Asian, Southeast Asian dating culture. These are two different paradigms, two different universes basically, yeah, with some common ground, yes, because at the end of the day, men are dealing with women, yeah, but there are a lot of differences in both cultures, you know. And I explained it in many of my videos. I talked about these issues, these differences, these challenges in many of my other videos. You might want to check them out. I urge you to do that. Yeah? The problem is that what I mentioned before, Western dating culture is unfortunately highly, the Western dating culture and also our beliefs, the beliefs we men have, we should behave, or the way we should impress women, or the way we think what women find attractive and want to be impressed with. These beliefs we have as Western men, they were highly, or have been highly influenced by Hollywood, by the media, by the Western media, the mainstream media, you know, these Hollywood movies, these romance movies, we all know them, these high school movies, college movies. I remember watching these movies also when I was a teenager, and this is how I thought, oh, this is the way it's being done, you know. You play the macho guy, the tough guy, the super confident guy, you put on a fake front, you know. I'm the guy with the big dick and the big bank account, and here I am, here I come and try to catch the girl, try to impress her. But these movies, the message they are conveying is completely unrealistic. At least this is my experience. This is not how reality works at all. You know, this is good to make millions of dollars, to rake in millions of dollars for these movie companies, but it kind of messes up young Western men's thinking and their beliefs and their behavior, you know, because they get a completely wrong idea about what dating is really about and how it works, you know. So, and these Western men also, maybe they're wondering why they have never been really successful the past 20 years in dating in Western countries, because this whole Hollywood thing doesn't work very well. It might work from time to time, and maybe if you play macho and put on a fake front, you might attract a certain category of women, maybe gold diggers, you know, but that's not our dating goal here, right? So then these Western guys come to Asian countries where clocks are ticking completely differently, and then they're wondering why they repel Indonesian women, and they're wondering to get these comments, you know. But that's good that we get these comments. This is just feedback, you know, very valuable feedback. Again, to all Indonesian girls and women, don't get tired to post these comments. Please take your time and share your experiences. They will help us. We get feedback, and we especially we Western guys, we can improve our dating skills with Indonesian women. Like she said, you know, but both have to take an effort at the end of the day. And I'm here at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Are you that guy she is talking about? Have you done these mistakes? Were you repelled by Southeast Asian women or even Indonesian women and you don't know why? Do you have the feeling you constantly mess up? Maybe here you could hear or listen to some of the reasons why that is, okay? So looking forward to your comments. Let's see what you have to say. Share your experiences, share your dating experience with Indonesian women, and maybe you have a tip for us. Yeah? So with that being said, I'm checking out for today. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in one of my next videos. Take care, bye bye.